Can you introduce yourself and where we are?
I am Jessie and we are at Shelduck Farm overlooking the Western Tiers in my parents' kitchen.
What is Shelduck Farm?
Shelduck Farm is my mum's creation. 2021 she created Shelduck Farm. It was during lockdown, a lot of things started during lockdown. She dusted off an old recipe for oatcakes, started making them and was just to friends in sort of care packages. And then everyone loved them. So she has gone and made up packs and got them into a few shops locally. And then she was lucky enough to apply for Seed Lab Tasmania. It's like a business development course. It was free. And very beneficial, how to be the most economical with your time, with your money, how to build the business, social media, advertising, even down to the product design, having contacts with marketing teams, packaging. It changed the trajectory, basically. So that has made a big difference. We've updated the packaging, which is a lot easier to deal with, but is also much better than the homemade creations that we were trying to work with stickers with every single box. And then it's slowly over the last couple of years, I've been helping more and more. I was just doing the social media and now I am full-time with it, as in full-time taken over the business from 1st of July. So Mum is still very much in the kitchen, still helping, but I am in charge of the business, yes.
How did you find that process working with family?
It is good. Definitely trying at times, not because I don't get along with Mum or even Dad. Dad definitely helps as well. When he and Mum were doing the markets together, harvest markets and then Devonport farmers markets, he was a big help there. But I suppose in the kitchen space, it's not a huge space. Mum would say, I'm not sure I would do it that way. But no, she's been excellent, very supportive, and has obviously shown me everything to do with the business and has helped me along every little step of the way.
You mentioned during the early stage of where the products ended up. Where are they accessible now?
We're mainly in Tasmania, just from the logistics of freight. Trying to get things to the mainland is insanely expensive. And that's a cost that we have to pass on to the shops that we're supplying to in Victoria. But we do have one supplier in Melbourne, which is great. They order quite a few regularly. But in Tasmania, we're mainly Launceston, Deloraine. We have a supplier in Deloraine, the Thirsty Camel bottle shop at the Bush Inn. And then down Hobart, we also have some suppliers, and through the Midlands. So we are also, a few wineries use our oatcakes on their platters. And then the garden coffee van down by the train park, Tess supplies, I supply Tess, our biscuits, sweet biscuits.
So sweet biscuits are different to the oatcakes?
Yes, so the oatcakes are savoury, Scottish traditional biscuit. It's just oats and water. Traditionally it would have had animal lard. We have changed the recipe to have olive oil, Tasmanian olive oil, and some salt. And then we've got the fennel, which is organically grown from friends over at Railton. And the pepperberry and the rosemary we harvest from the garden.
Beautiful. So in addition, oatcakes and the sweet ones.
Yes.
Is there plans for any other products?
Possibly down the track. I think we'd like to market our own beef at some point. But at the moment I'm just trying to get my feet under me, being in charge of the new business. The fennel we've only had on the shelf it's maybe coming up to 12 months. It does take a while to develop a new product and then the cost output in terms of the new packaging and creating that market. But it's not a difficult recipe to adapt. It's the same recipe for all of them, but you're just adding a different flavour. So that definitely helps.
Is there one that's more popular?
It seems to change with the seasons. You go through a stage of only selling one and then all of a sudden you're off making a different one. The wineries locally prefer the rosemary. Down south near Richmond, one of our big customers there, they prefer the fennel. Yeah.
Do you know the people who end up with the product?
Yeah.
Is there a specific type of person without being prescriptive?
A lot of people come about them via hampers. We've got quite a few hamper companies in Tasmania that are very good with supporting Tasmanian producers. So whether it's through Launceston or Hobart, we supply 3 different hamper companies, and they put in very big orders, especially towards the end of the year with Christmas, Father's Day, Mother's Day, things like that. So I think a lot of people would otherwise not know about our oatcakes. It's probably a higher end product simply because it's all handmade. So all of the mixing, all of the baking, everything is done by hand, all the cutting, all the stamping of each individual oatcake. So in terms of the labour costs, it's quite expensive. So I know compared to just a water cracker that you're going to get at the supermarket that's been mass produced in a factory with lower labour costs, I suppose we're targeting a higher end market.
And it's all made in this kitchen?
In this kitchen, yes.
How many days a week do you spend making?
So 2 to 3 days at the moment. I still work in Launceston 2 days a week. I'm a nurse. The other days it's trying to work around children, school, drop off, pick up, and the logistics of that. But yes, I've got 1 long full day in the kitchen, and then I try and do another 2 sort of half days around school hours.
Can you talk a bit about the connection to Scotland and the history, and I guess where your mum first got the recipe and that sort of side of things?
Yes, so I was born in Scotland. Dad's from Scotland. My 2 sisters were born there as well. We moved to Australia in 94, so I was 5. But before that, Mum moved from South Australia, had a year or 2 in Scotland before she met Dad, and fell in love with oatcakes. She was lucky enough to be given the recipe from one of the families that she worked for. It was their family recipe, and she didn't do anything with it, basically. Just made them a few times, but it was only when, during lockdown, more time on her hands, she ran them out. And I think it was mainly because we're so lucky here in Tasmania. There's so many local cheeses, people are making jams, chutneys, and then you're just slapping it on bog standard biscuit. If you can have something that is local and elevates what you are serving, the oatcakes are the job for that.
What are some memorable moments that you've had?
First couple of markets that we did, just trying to work out how to encourage people to come and try the oatcakes. A lot of people don't know what oatcakes are. When they hear cake, they think sweet, which is totally fair enough. But once people have been encouraged to come and try the oatcakes, and they're very, very receptive. A lot of people are confused by the name Shelduck. Think that we're either selling ducks or that we've used duck milk to create the product.
Duck milk being like the fat?
Like the fat, yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm just running through the logistics of trying to milk a duck. And I thought had to keep a very straight face and say, no ducks involved. They are vegan product.
So the name comes from?
We have a lot of shelducks on the farm here. They're a native bird to Tasmania, and they mate for life.
Okay.
So a little love story in the birds.
Some challenges, difficulties that you've had?
Difficulties, yes. The logistics of getting the correct type of milled oats is quite difficult. In Scotland, it's not a problem just because oatcakes are part of the staple diet. You go into the supermarket or into the local shop and it's just a wall of oatcakes, all different types, different flavours. But here, because it's not a staple part of our diet, the oatmeal is very difficult to source. It needs to be milled in a particular way. And while we grow oats in Tasmania, we don't have the correct milling process. So we have to have that sent over from South Australia. They've got oatmeal, organic oatmeal, and yes, so sometimes that's tricky to try and get that sent over when we need it.
Plans for the future?
Plans plans for the future? Keep on keeping on, and hopefully be able to grow the business, keep finding new suppliers and stockists while also not changing what it is that is important to us, which is staying true to local as possible in terms of, well, the oats are from South Australia, everything else is Tasmanian, making everything by hand. If the only scale-up option is a very expensive oatcake machine, which comes from Europe, which would involve selling a lot of oatcakes to pay back. So I don't think that's short-term going to be anywhere in my future. But then I also don't really want to lose the fact that everything is handmade. It's part of our story, that it's, you know, our kitchen to your kitchen, and yeah, it's an important part of our story.
Favourite part of the Meander Valley?
Do I have to choose just one?
Open question.
I think we're so lucky in Deloraine. It's a beautiful town. I'm very happy and settled here. The schools are fantastic, the river, all of the shops. You don't have to leave Deloraine if you didn't want to, in terms of all of the beautiful things that we have on offer. I really like getting out in nature, exploring all of the different small walking tracks with the children, going looking for mushrooms this time of year. They enjoy that a lot. It's just good to be able to appreciate nature and then see the changes of the seasons as well.
All right. Thank you, Jessie.